It's 15 years since the greatest enthusiast car to be launched in India stopped production, and yet there is a mad cult following behind the Honda City VTEC. The car behind me, that's not stock, that makes 150 horsepower. This is a stock Honda City VTEC. It made around 100 horsepower back then. This one is turbocharged. It makes 310 horsepower. As we go up the order, there are more turbocharged cars here. This one makes 355 horsepower. This City VTEC, this makes around 430 horsepower. 430 horsepower from a front-wheel drive car. And that is the maddest front-wheel drive 1.5 car in the world. Joel is the guy behind all these Honda City VTECs. Joel, why the City VTEC?
Clearly the most affordable car right now for us, has the most potential. Although it's old, since there's a lot to do in it, I choose to work on the Honda.
This car looks utterly mad. Some would say it looks ridiculous. It hardly even looks like a Honda City. How much of the Honda City is actually there in this car?
Windshield and probably the roof. That's about it. Pretty much everything is composite. So we have a completely redone front end.
Oh, wait one second now. Uh-oh.
You just don't know.
Say hello to the loudest Honda City VTEC in the world. This is the Race Concepts Indian touring car racer. It took pole in 3 out of 4 rounds and set the lap record and fastest laps in all the races. It puts out 210 bhp at the crank and 190 bhp as measured at the wheel. The engine has oversized valves, very highly tuned cam, polished cylinder head, forged crank, modified oil pump and individual throttle bodies. The gear ratios are all custom and it does 100 kmph in 5.6 seconds and the quarter mile in 13.2 seconds flat. It maxes out at 8,900 RPM, has a limited slip diff, custom suspension geometry, race dampers and MRF's 17-inch race rubber. Forget being the fastest City VTEC in the world, this is the fastest 1.5-litre front-wheel drive naturally aspirated race car in the world. Joel believes in race on Sunday, sell on Monday. This naturally aspirated VTEC runs a stage 1 tune with a polished cylinder head, bumped up compression ratio, altered intake and exhaust, a race dynamic ECU and reprofiled ports and combustion chamber. The conversion costs around 2 lakh rupees, power is up to 138 bhp, 100 kmph drops to 7 seconds and it revs up to 8,000 RPM. And crucially, this is an everyday driver. The next step up is a slightly more compression ratio with forged pistons, new rods to handle the higher horsepower, higher tune on the cylinder head as well as stronger valve springs with titanium retainers to counter valve bounce. Together with larger injectors, this blue VTEC does 100 kmph in 6.4 seconds and was officially clocked at a drag event, crossing the quarter mile in 14.2 seconds. Of course, Joel also upgrades the suspension and brakes to ensure safety as well as handling. Fast cars need to stop very quickly. Then on in the hunt for horsepower is turbocharging. This black VTEC makes 355 bhp at the crank and 309 bhp at the wheel. The engine gets low compression pistons that can handle the boost and the head has been worked on for better and also more efficient induction. The great turbo VTEC here has been built for street use and has a fat power band that starts at 3,500 RPM and goes all the way up to 7,500 RPM. The revs fly to the limiter and it is just one gear after another in quick succession as it gets to 100 kmph in 5.7 seconds and the quarter mile in 13.1 seconds. And this is the mild turbo job. The wildest build here is this gold VTEC that is not only used on the street but also on drag events. On the dyno, it puts out 386 bhp at the wheel, and at the crank, it is 440 bhp. And it now runs fully forged internals, 21 psi of max boost and 800cc injectors. And the quickest it can get to 100 kmph with all this wheel spin is 5.3 seconds. It is utterly ridiculous that a car that went out of production 15 years ago can decimate baby Jaguars and Porsches. But once you're on the go, once you go up the gears, once VTEC kicks in, all hell breaks loose.